So, let's talk about heists. I am obsessed with the exhilarating feeling of watching a group of people pull off something that is nearly impossible and quite literally just get away with it. And I'm not talking about the Isabella Stewart Gardner heist because that one does haunt me and I need them to return to Rembrandt. Give it back. I'm not joking. Give it back right now. In honor of all the heists that are happening in the news currently, I thought it would be really fun to share my favorite books, movies, and TV shows about heists. Let's start with some books about heists. Let's start with a YA trilogy that is from the early days that I will not stop recommending, and it is the Heist Society trilogy. Heist Society follows a girl named Katarina, who is the daughter of these famous people who commit these impossible heists, and she's trying to get away from that life when her best friend Hale, who is also an art thief, decides to pull her back into this underground world to commit one more heist for a mobster who has had his art stolen. And who's the number one suspect of the heist? Katarina's father. Yes, yes. And it is such an exhilarating YA series. It made me want to pull off a heist myself. Will I ever? No. For legal reasons, I will never pull off a heist. I've never been to Paris. I've never been to the Louvre. Don't contact me. The Heist Society is so fun because it follows a group of teenagers committing these heists. And did it inspire me to want to become a writer? And did I write an entire book that is essentially the same exact plot of the Heist Society? Absolutely. That's just the teenage girl thing to do. I think that you can read as a teenager, you can read as an adult. It's just a really entertaining trilogy that I really do think is worth your time and is very underrated. Another really fun YA duology about heists is the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. This is set in a fantasy world and we follow our main character, Kaz Brecker, who has to formulate a team of these ragtag members to pull off a heist that is nearly impossible. Each of these characters have very distinct skills that are very important to the overall heist. There are so many reveals into their past, and their past definitely do play a part in the heist itself, and they're all interconnected in some way, and they all form different relationships with one another, and the banter is fantastic. One thing that I love about heist media is that there's always a sense of comedy to it. There's a lot of banter between all the different characters who are pulling off the heist together, and there's usually always someone to kind of break the tension and lighten the spirits. And also, I think you do need that sense of lightheartedness to kind of show that these characters are very used to committing these heists and they don't see it as a big deal compared to us, the viewer. So always having that hint of comedy and these kind of snarky jokes is very prevalent in all of these pieces of media that I'm going to recommend. When I was compiling this list of heist media, I was looking at different stories that feature heists, and someone actually listed The Hobbit as a piece of heist literature. And I thought to myself, oh my god, it is. The Hobbit is an OG heist story, and it features our main character, Bilbo Baggins, who lives in the Shire, and he lives a very cozy, very quiet life when Gandalf shows up to his doorstep one day and asks if he can take part in a heist to the Lonely Mountain with a group of dwarves who are hoping to take back a bunch of treasure from the evil Smaug, the infamous dragon who has taken over their home. It is such a fun story that you can read at any age to fall in love with Middle-earth. It is the pivotal story to set the scene for The Lord of the Rings. And of course, it is a piece of heist media. How could I possibly forget? And the last heist book that I have to recommend is actually a nonfiction, and it is The Gardner Heist by Ulrich Boser. And this is a nonfiction about the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist, and this is the largest art heist in the entire world. I don't know how it's the largest heist. I think from a monetary standpoint, in terms of all the items that are stolen, I think it's the most expensive art heist of all time. I don't know how it compares to the Louvre. Someone would have to fact check me in the comments, but this is an unsolved mystery that genuinely haunts me. I actually have a print of the Rembrandt that was stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum because yes, I did drag my best friend to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. She gladly came with me and it was great. I'm gonna use Google here for some help because I don't remember all the key details of the heist because I'm not a historian and I don't remember key dates. But in March 18th, 1990, two thieves disguised themselves as police officers and stole 13 artworks from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, making it the largest art heist in history. These stolen works are estimated to be worth over $500 million, including 3 Rembrandts of Vermeer and 5 Degas drawings. The heist lasted 81 minutes and involved binding 2 security guards in the basement, and none of the items have ever been recovered. This heist haunts me until the end of time. 1, because it's the biggest art heist in history, but 2, because they stole the only seascape painting from Rembrandt, which is the Storm of the Sea of Galilee, and that is just such a beautiful, gorgeous, important piece of art that they just cut out of the frame. They cut the painting out of the canvas. And you know that painting is not doing well currently. You know it's probably cracking. They rolled it up. Like, everything about this heist haunts me as someone who loves art. It's all very random. Their choices are so weird, and you can learn so much more about it when you read this nonfiction, and I just highly recommend it because this is such an interesting piece of art history that you just have to kind of look up and deep dive into, because it will haunt you by the end of the day once you research enough about it. Now let's move on to heist movies, aka some of the best movies of all time. Dare I say, they're all so exciting. Let's start with a classic, National Treasure. When I saw National Treasure at like 11 years old, I was like, I too want to steal the Declaration of Independence. Will I? No, don't come looking for me. I'm just saying Nicolas Cage was an inspiration in that film, and I thought it was feasible. I have not seen it in years. I definitely am due for a rewatch. I can't even recall what National Treasure 2 is about. National Treasure 2 deals with the President's Notebook, and it's like full of presidential secrets, and you know what? I'm very much convinced that that is a real thing. National Treasure is iconic. I don't even want to tell you the plot. Nicolas Cage has to steal the Declaration of Independence, and you know what he does? He does, and he does it with style and grace. And is it very obvious, and is he kind of bad at heists? Yeah. It's a great movie, and it looks nothing like actual DC. I remember going to Washington, DC as a kid and being like, I'm so excited to see the National Archive Museum. I'm so excited to see the Declaration of Independence. We're gonna walk through the front doors just like Nick Cage did. And then we had to go through the back of the building, go through like 5 points of security, and then finally see the Declaration of Independence. And it didn't even look that cool because like the writing was so faint and like unreadable. And I was like, it was much cooler in the movie. But isn't that just the way, you know? One of my favorite movies of all time is Ocean's 11. And when I recommend Ocean's 11, I am recommending all Ocean's films, Ocean's 11, 12, 13, and 8. They are all fantastic. They're all really fun, but Ocean's 11 does have my heart. I have rewatched it so many different times. This is a heist that takes place in Las Vegas. We follow George Clooney's character, whose last name is Ocean, and he is compiling a team together to commit a heist against a casino who is owned by a really wealthy man who is dating Ocean's ex-wife. So there's a lot of history woven between the narrative. So we follow George Clooney as Ocean. We follow Brad Pitt as kind of like his sidekick, and that is the best that Brad Pitt has ever looked in his life. Not only is the heist fun, but part of the fun is compiling the whole entire team. All that build up, all that scheming, all that canvassing of the casino is so fun. And then the heist happens, and it's impossible. It is outlandish. It is so out of this world in terms of being in the realm of reality, but it is so fun. The music, fantastic. The entire soundtrack is like my favorite soundtrack besides Goodfellas. Everyone looks so good, and it is just that film. And when I say it's just that film, I mean it for all the films, because Ocean's 8 is just as fun. We follow Danny Ocean's sister, who is committing a heist at the Met Gala, and it follows a group of all women, because Ocean's 11 is a group of all men. I love a heist. I love when people look at an impossible situation and say, let's go for it. Don't invite me on the situation. Again, I'm innocent. I was not in Paris on whatever day the heist was. I've never been there. Another even more unrealistic piece of Heist media is the Now You See Me series. And I know you're wondering, Olivia, are you excited for Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third film in the franchise? Of course I am. Am I mad that they named the third movie Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and the second one is just called Now You See Me Too? Absolutely. I think it's horrible marketing, but what do I know? I work in marketing. Now You See Me is a really fun concept. It follows a group of magicians and they all team together to commit these heists. And while we follow them committing these heists using magic, we also follow an FBI agent who is trying to catch them at the perfect time. We follow Mark Ruffalo, who is the FBI agent hunting down all these magicians. We follow Jesse Eisenberg, who is the head magician. We follow Woody Harrelson, Isla Fisher, Dave Franco, and we even have Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine in this. Can you believe? Is the plot the best? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that this plot is fantastic. I'm not saying it's on Mission Impossible level, which is another good piece of heist media. But the Now You See Me movies are fun if you are a magic girly. If you are the person who watches a magic trick and goes, oh my god, how amazing. And you don't try and figure out how it happens. If you are someone who just enjoys the magic of magic tricks, you'll love this movie. I'm also recommending the Mission Impossible movies while I'm here, but do I remember any of the plot? No. I always tell people I love watching the Mission Impossible movies, but I can never tell you what Tom Cruise's character is doing because I'm really just there to see the tricks. I'm there to see him just like tumble around and run a lot. I'm not there for the plot. The plot's not good. In fact, the direction isn't that good. In fact, Tom Cruise's acting is not good. I don't think he's a good actor. I don't think he's a good person. But boy, do I love an espionage-filled heist. I think that they get worse by every film that comes out, and I'm really glad that the series is over, but do I predict that they're going to continue it in like 5 years? Absolutely. Will Tom Cruise be 75 running down a mountain? Of course he is. But besides the Mission Impossible series, I would highly recommend that you watch Bullet Train. Bullet Train is a movie that took me really by surprise, and I had such a great time with it. It's another movie where a group of strangers kind of come together and they're all trying to get the same object on this bullet train in Japan. Similar to every single movie that I have spoken about before, this cast is also stacked. It's similar to that of Ocean's 11, where every person that's introduced into this film, you're like, wait, that person's amazing. So we have Brad Pitt as our main character. We have Joey King. We have Aaron Taylor Johnson and Brian Tyree Henry, who are a duo, and they are Tangerine and Lemon, and their banter is fantastic. I love their chemistry together. I need them to be in another film together. Bullet Train is comedic. It has so many amazing jokes. It is full of action. It's just a movie that is meant to keep you so incredibly stimulated to the point where you're like, oh my god, I feel like I've lived 5 lifetimes in this film. That is the type of movie that Bullet Train is. The last movie that I have to recommend is a little bit different from all of them because this takes place in your mind, and it is Inception. It's just a truly fantastic cast of people who commit these heists in people's dreams. So there's this thing called Inception where you are able to enter someone's dream and commit a heist by planting an idea within their subconscious, and then when they awake, you can manipulate them in order to get any information from them. Or in another case, go into someone's subconscious to steal information from them. It's a very complex film in terms of the concept and in terms of how you interpret it, and I do think that people have different interpretations for Inception that differ from each other, and that's what I love about Inception. I love movies where people have different ideas of how the movie ends and different motivations that each character has, and it is a film that you can rewatch over and over again and get something new from it every single time. And not only is the concept so unique, but the visuals are gorgeous because when you enter a dream, physics doesn't have to make sense. And this is a movie that I think that everyone should watch at least once in their lifetime because it's truly one of the most groundbreaking, interesting films in terms of how it tells a story and how it tells a story within a story within a story within a story. It's just so good. You have to watch it if you have not seen it before. Finally, we are getting into the last category, which are TV shows that deal with heists. And the number one TV show that I need you to see that deals with a heist is La Casa de Papel, or Money Heist. La Casa de Papel is one of the best shows on Netflix, and I need every single person to see it. I know it's very big outside of America, but I don't feel like enough Americans are watching La Casa de Papel. So we follow a man named El Profesor, who is the mastermind behind this heist against the Spanish Mint. And he brings together a team of people who all remain anonymous, and they all choose a city as their code name. So we have Tokyo, we have Nairobi, we have Berlin. The show is so fun because it kind of has three timelines to it. We have the heist, we have the initial planning of the heist, and then we have the characters who share their backstory as the heist is happening. And not only are we following the people who are taking part in the heist, but we also follow some of the people who are being held hostage during the heist, and then we also follow the cops who are trying to stop the heist from happening. It will leave you on the edge of your seat. You will want to watch the entire season in one go, and by the end of it, you become so attached to all these characters. You become attached to the police, you become attached to the crew, you become attached to the hostages, and there are so many annoying characters who you hate and you root against. I love how complex the heist is, because just when you think that they are about to lose it all, they have a plan B and a plan C all the way up to Z, and it is so well thought out. It is so intricate. Everyone has such a distinct storyline that intertwines with another person's storyline. There's not one note that I can give to La Casa de Papel. I think it's truly one of the best shows ever made in terms of complexity, in terms of characterization, and in terms of its pacing and its ability to keep you entertained at all times. There's not one dull moment in this entire show in all the seasons. There's always a sense of dread and tension, and it is absolutely fantastic. And the next show that I want to recommend is also on Netflix and also very interesting, and every person who watches this show will see it in a different way, and it is Kaleidoscope. So Netflix occasionally does something cool with their shows like Bandersnatch, which is a choose your own adventure show, and they also have this show called Kaleidoscope, where you are able to watch this entire show randomly. There's no clear order to watch the show, and everyone sees it in a different order because Netflix randomly chooses which episode to play next, and each episode is labeled by a color. So you could watch the red, blue, green show, or someone else can see the blue, green, purple show, and each order is unique to the viewer. But the thing about it is that you can see it in any single order and you will still get the whole entire story just from a different perspective of a different character for each episode, and it all intertwines into this amazing heist that is so intricate and so interesting. I've never seen a show where you are able to see the ending first and you still get the full story and you still get to really enjoy it. And while it's not my favorite heist in the world, I still really enjoyed the uniqueness of it. I think that Netflix has the ability to play with these different types of stories more. It was so fun to be able to watch it when it initially came out because everyone was sharing which episode they saw first and then which episode they saw last, and I don't remember the order that I saw it in, but I really loved the order that I saw it in, because I do think that the heist episode was the last episode for me. So that was really fun, and I really do hope that they do these types of unique storylines in the future. And the last show that I have to recommend is also on Netflix, and it is a documentary of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist. We're circling back to Rembrandt, okay guys? Everything circles back to Rembrandt. If you are not a reader, you should watch This Is a Robbery, because this is a documentary series chronicling the timeline of the heist in the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. It's a great visual way to see it unfold. It's a well-researched, fantastic docu-series that I do think is worth your time on Netflix in case you want to learn more about this heist. It's just a very interesting heist because the museum is at fault, the police are at fault, there are so many people at fault for how this crime happened and how these people got away with it, and the fact that we'll probably never find out who did it, which does haunt me. If you have any other heist media recommendations that you think that I should consume in some way or other, please comment them down below. I do know that The Art Thief is a nonfiction. I did read it. I just don't really recommend it because I don't think it's compelling. I don't think it's worth your time. I think that you should read The Gardener Heist instead. If you want to follow me anywhere else on social media, all my links are down below. If you want to follow me on Instagram or TikTok or Letterboxd, I have all those links for you to follow me elsewhere. And if you have any other random niche recommendation videos that you would like to see from me in the future, be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you made it this far in the video, leave a heist emoji down below so we can see who stays for the longest. And if you're like, Olivia, what would be a heist emoji? You interpret that as you will. It could be a bank, it could be a picture frame, it could be that money bag emoji. You choose what you would heist, you know? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a really good day, and I will see you very soon. Bye.